How are ya? This is Jay Dahlke, The Life and Times of One Said Jay Dahlke, Episode 8.
Right on.
And now I'd like my producer, Chappie St. Dave. Dave is going to ask me questions. So take it away, Dave.
Jay, I was away last week on vacation,
Yeah.
and you were the star,
Yep.
director, producer, makeup artist. You were all of it, all of it. So, and even the camera operator. So, I'm back, and I thought to.
Wait.
Oh,
Thanks for letting me know you were going to be gone last week.
and I will be gone sometime again in the future. So
let this be kind of a lesson for you. Next time you go, let me know.
Well, I'll do my best, friend. I'll do my best. All right. The question today is related to your episode last week, which was fantastic. And if you haven't seen the episode, be sure to go on to the YouTube channel and have a look at it. But you shared some news. What was the news again? You shared September 11th?
Oh, on September 11th, in Florida, my daughter, Montana Petra, is having a little bambino. She's having a little baby boy, and I'm going to be a grandfather.
Right on. Okay, and here's a question. Since it's the life and times of Jay Dahlke here, what will be your designation? Will it be Granddad, Pepe? What's it going to be?
Pops.
Pops. Yeah. Why Pops?
Well, that's what I called my dad.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Right on. And he was a good grandpa to your daughter?
Yeah, he was.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, good dad, good grandpa.
Yeah.
Right on. Okay, so let me so you have a story about your dad you want to share? You ever call him old man?
Oh, yeah. When I was younger, I was going to a softball game in Alderwood, and we had to drive along, I think it was called Birmingham, but Birmingham crossed my high school. And right at the corner of Kipling and Birmingham, this guy pulled up on his bike beside me. I was in the car, and I looked over and said, "Oh, how you doing?" He goes, "Yeah, how are you, Jay?" I said, "I'm okay, just on the way to a ball game." And he said, he just made some small talk, and he looked at me. He goes, "Is that your old man?" Because my dad was driving. I said, "Yeah, that was my old man." And just kind of laughed it off. And then the light changed. So he took off on his bike. I said, "I'll see you Monday." And then my dad was driving the car through the light, and he just looked at me, and he didn't yell, just said, "Don't ever call me your old man again." So I said, "Oops. Okay." So from that point on, I said, "Okay, Pops."
So it stuck then.
Yeah, I've always called him Pops for years. I never called him.
Okay, does Montana ever call you old man?
She has.
What did you say to her? Same thing or what? What does she call you? Does she call you Pops or does she call you?
Well, she only calls me for money. No, she makes fun of me. Like she's a typical daughter.
Yeah, and she's probably a lot like.
Oh, she's a lot like me.
Okay, so yes.
She's very stubborn.
And does she call you Dad? Does she call you Pops? Does she call you?
She calls me Dad.
Yeah, Dad. Yeah. Right on. Okay, but you're gonna be Pops to this newcomer to the world.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to ask you about your grandparents. Like we might not know too much about not your parents, but your grandparents. So talk to me about your grandparents on your father's side first.
Well,
where are they from?
From Germany.
Okay. Do you remember where in Germany? North Germany, South Germany? Do you know? Or do you not get into that?
I think I don't really know.
No. Yeah, that's common. Yeah. So, okay. But did you have a relationship with your
Um,
dad's parents?
no, because they were German. But at one point, uh, I think I met his mother once. She came from Germany.
Okay. But that's how they came from Europe. They came from
Oh no,
Germany.
no, no! It was my aunt.
Okay.
She's actually she married a Swedish guy, so she lived
Ah.
in Sweden. But my grandmother was blown up in the war.
Oh.
Like when my father was traveling through Germany during the war, he went to boarding school. So in boarding school, they taught him that if there's ever planes dropping bombs, you have a safer chance of running towards the plane for because the bombs drop in intervals. So it's better if you run towards the plane because you have a better chance of survival.
Oh.
So when the planes came over and started dropping bombs, um, my grandmother just ran, and ran willy nilly,
Oh.
and so she got blown up by one of the bombs, and my dad ran towards the plane, so he was saved.
Okay.
Um, and my grandfather passed away probably in the 80s, I think, but I never met him.
Okay. Okay. So so then on your mother's side, so if your father's side's German, I think you told us in one of the episodes that your mother's side are Italian.
Yeah,
Okay. So did you know any grandparents? I
yeah.
think you knew your
I
grandmother,
knew my
right?
grandmother
Okay.
and my grandfather.
Okay. So talk to me about grandpa because you're the pops. Talk to me about the grandpa part of your mom's side.
Uh, well, he owned a fruit store in Mimico,
Oh,
and
like fresh produce kind of
yeah,
thing?
but his the back of his store got blown up by the mafia
No.
because my grandfather wouldn't pay protection fees.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they blew up the back of his store.
Oh my goodness.
But it turns out that I have third and fourth cousins on my mom's side who were in the mafia.
Ah, what? You're like the Sopranos or what?
I was a tenor.
Ah, okay. All right.
Yeah. So, but out of all my siblings, I have I'm I may look kind of German, but I also look exactly like my mother, she had a big Jimmy Durante nose,
Mm-hmm.
and so I look. I got kind of a cross. I got the big Italian nose, but I also look like my father because he's, you know,
Hmm.
some people say I look German, but um,
Well, Germany and Italy were closely related anyways. I think northern Italy and Germany, there was lots kind of back and forth there, I think, through the ages. If I'm thinking of that correctly. But okay, so talk to me about if you talk to me about your relationship. Do you have any memories?
well, I remember my a couple of the old uncles
Mm-hmm.
that were really Italian, and I I seem to recall I spent a lot of time um, with my grandmother.
Okay, so talk to me about that.
She was a Pentecostal minister,
Ah,
and she ran missions downtown Toronto,
okay.
and she worked with you know a lot of drug addict ladies who couldn't take care of themselves. So my grandmother was always in the ministry,
Mm-hmm.
and she was a very well respected lady,
What was her name?
Mary
Mary
Gallagher.
Gallagher.
See,
Okay.
Gallagher wasn't even their last name.
Oh, really?
because when they came over from Italy, they changed their name upon
Oh.
arriving in Toronto because Toronto didn't take too kindly to. Toronto is predominantly Irish, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and the Irish hated the Italians,
Oh, so they changed their names
so
to
they changed their
Gallagher.
from it was something like Gallio,
Okay.
and they switched it over to Gallagher from so they didn't get any more trouble there.
Okay. Did your
So
grandma pray for you a lot?
oh yeah,
Okay, so do you remember her praying over you? Do you remember her praying for you?
I remember praying for him. Yeah,
Okay. Can you give me an example?
um,
Would that be at the kitchen table? Would that be
oh
when you're
just
out walking? Would
yeah,
that be at
well,
church?
I had a kitchen table
Hmm.
because I stayed a lot at her place.
Okay.
Like when my parents went away on vacations or to my brother's lacrosse tournaments, then they'd leave me with my grandmother. So I always ate with her, and
Hmm.
she always prayed. Yeah,
Yeah.
and she prayed for me.
Oh, she did? She
Yeah, a
told you
lot.
that? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So what did she think about your faith practice? Was she encourage you in your faith? Like, did she encourage you?
Well, she was a big part of my younger years
Yeah.
because when she passed away, I got all of her cassettes. And she had a, a big load of cassettes.
Okay.
But she also had those, like she had Oral Roberts,
Oh.
the his teaching tapes. So I had big things full of his teaching tapes, and she was a big Jim and Tammy Baker fan.
Okay.
So I got her old cassettes, and
So pretty good Christian heritage, like
oh
in
yeah,
terms of like two generations. And your parents, were they? So was your mother a
my
Christian?
mom was, not
Yeah.
my dad. I don't know.
Right. But your mom was a Christian,
Yeah.
right? And so she encouraged you in your pursuit of Christian music, and didn't want you to be a rock star.
No, uh, she was pretty well supportive of my singing.
Mm-hmm.
But see, I went to church a lot when I was a kid with my mother. But then there was a point where I went by myself,
Right.
and when I went by myself, I got I started to study the Word and
Mm-hmm.
memorize Scripture, and she
Prayer
said,
became a big part of your life then.
"Oh yeah."
Yeah.
And then my mother was rather impressed at my memory, my
Ah.
memorizing Scripture, and I'd always have to explain to her what certain passages meant.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good.
Yeah, but I was
So you kind of like were maybe closer in terms of your grandmother's degree of faith than maybe your mother's degree of faith. Uh,
well, my mom while I was growing up was my mom was always backslidden,
oh,
and but she'd always for some reason she gets saved at the top of the stairs whenever I swore. Then she'd fly down in a holy rage. Slide,
oh yeah.
she'd fly down the stairs and slap me and start beating the crap out of me.
Uh,
My mom was really Italian.
she really wanted you. Yeah, and she wanted that to be. She wanted your faith to be part of your, or at least you're not dropping the F bomb every other day. Okay, so here's the thing. So let's bring it back to you being pops now, okay? So you also shared about how it's difficult to be living here in long-term care, being a 54-year-old. That's a new thing, living in long-term care. It's difficult to be in relationships. It'll also be difficult for you to be in relationship with your grandchild because your daughter is going to have your grandchild in Florida, but then
Yeah.
she's going to move back to.
Sarnia.
Okay, that's where you're mostly connected. That's where all your friends you were saying hi to, right? Last week on
Yep.
the video, right? And so, what are some things like I know that you're excited about being pops, and we actually had a conversation about kind of that role as as kind of the spiritual man in the family. What are some things you're hoping for the next generations? Because you got the big shoes, man.
Well,